our guests are ready. Have we any questions? Hands up, please. It can be anywhere now, because it's nice warm in here, so I can walk, I can go slowly, or I can run still, but...
Thank you, everybody. Your presentations all they completely rock. They were just fab. Thank you so much. Thank you. I've got a kind of question that I probably would say, because I'm from Natural England, and that is, if we make space for nature in parks and places, or we make space for nature, keep restoring it in wild places as well, Debbie, are we kind of opening that out to a much wider group then? Is that a kind of a good move for making spaces feel great for girls and women, and making spaces feel great for people who are using wheelchairs as well? I'm just thinking, is that a kind of win? I think it is, but I would like your perspectives.
Yes. Am I
Do you want to go first?
Oh, yeah. I thought you said Debbie, so sorry. I thought you said Debbie, so I grabbed the microphone. Absolutely. Any opportunity to get people into nature. I love mountain tops, but there are certain people that would just be happy to be able to sit in a park and socialise in a park, and there is so much that can be done. Even, like today, my journey coming from the car park to here was quite different, because I asked a lady, how do I get to the marquee? And she opened a gate in the wall and brought me through this, basically, all the hay. And by the time I got here, I was covered in rabbit crap. And somebody said, well, actually, the way in, I should have come through the cafe. But she didn't know. And so it is important that people know, and it's also important that you provide the right information for people. On websites, you have an access statement to say what people can expect to experience when they come to your park, and make it clear. I don't want to be peeling the onion to get to the information. If it's there, right in front on the home page, it's so much easier for me to find out where I'm welcome with my dog Tip than it is to find out whether I'm welcome with a disability.
Yeah, I was just going to echo the point. I mean, engagement with wildlife, biodiversity, nature is what people go to a park for, and it's what women want and girls want, in these spaces. So just to echo, this isn't in relation to vegetation and things like that, and wilder spaces. I think maintaining that along kind of core paths, in kind of core areas of the space. We do know that women's use of a park is more constrained within certain spaces, so in the wilder areas, and organised activities are great for that. So walking tours around woodlands and so forth is kind of really important. That so I don't think we should take the guidance or anything that I've said in the sense of demeaning what a park is for. Its purpose is to promote engagement with nature, and that is definitely something that women and girls want. They wanted them to be social, communal spaces that they can, visit and promote their mental health and well-being.
Yes, I think that's absolutely right, and we underestimate teenagers in general by just saying, oh, we'll just plonk down a metal shelter in the middle of some grass, and that's not all right. And it's something that applies for boys as well as girls. We were talking to a mixed group in Hume in Manchester, so not, really not a huge amount of access to green space. But one of the boys was saying, oh, I don't use the local park. I go 2 parks away because it's got nicer trees and ducks. And this was a quite hard 16-year-old boy. I was like, oh, okay, I was not expecting that. So, but it can't be, it's not sufficient in itself, because I think girls feel that there are so many other barriers to accessing things. I mean, again, the work in Oxford that we did for Natural England, the girls loved, and it was a very racially diverse group of girls. They loved, there's a wild sort of, it's not even properly a park, it's like a nature reserve, which is quite near the park we were talking about. But to get there, they had to walk across. There was a footpath that walked across a golf course. And if you are in a group of non-white girls, some of whom were wearing hijabs, I wanted to be Martin Parr, because all the angry golfers, the angry white middle-aged men golfers, and that's a barrier to nature. You know, that it's not as straightforward just going, oh well, you've got that there. You have to look and talk to the girls about what the barriers are, because they may not be what you suspect.
Any more questions? We've got time for one more question. If anyone's got anything burning to ask. If not, of course, we've got workshops this afternoon, and obviously that's a great time to talk to our experts in more details. Any more questions? Oh, bear with me.
I guess it's similar to that, but and it's Andrew McDermott from Newport Trust again. What would your answer be to someone that would say, you know, talking about lighting, talking about improved spaces and creating essentially hardened design facilities for girls or young people isn't about what a park is? You know, how do you respond to that? Particularly, I suppose lighting, you know, is something which is quite often rejected in a natural space as its impact on biodiversity, or you know, it's not what it's about, but clearly is an important factor.
Yes, there's a very complicated question living in there very specifically around lighting, and the answer is a bit of a it depends on where you are. If you are in a park in London that is being used as a through piece of active travel, then the lighting might be appropriate, but there's much more technology now that also means you can dim it, whereas if you're in a country park, maybe not. You know, it's got to be site specific and looking at the issues and looking at access. But if no lighting means that, I think we also do have to sometimes see it as an equalities issue and go, well, if we don't like this park, or if you do like my local council do and just put those tiny little bat friendly lights in, that means you're effectively lighting it for men, not for women. And it may be in some cases that the answer is that is appropriate, but we need to acknowledge it. I also would just like to say that there is more legislation and guidance on lighting for bats than there is for lighting for safety for women, because there isn't any.
Yeah, I mean, in our guidance, we also take the view that this is a complicated matter. And we know some things from, you know, lighting research that lighting can also create shadows and so forth. So there are lots of technical things to be taken into consideration. So lighting design is obviously the main go-to there. I echo in relation to active travel routes. As a park I walk back through, you know, from work every day. It's a cycle route and a walking route, and you can't see the person approaching you. But actually this is a really popular active travel route during the day, and it freaks me out, you know, after dark. So I think it is site specific. I think there are things that we know, but I also think we can cite dark areas, you know, that are there managed for nature and for biodiversity. I don't think we're asking to light up parts like a Christmas tree.
Thanks so much indeed. Right, we've now reached lunch, which I'm sure you're all happy about. But thank you for us more morning speakers, if I can speak myself. Wouldn't it be nice if all our green spaces were accessible and inclusive? It is 2023 after all. There's no real reason, is there, that they shouldn't be? It's not rocket science. So thank you indeed for all our guest speakers.